Hey guys, it's Jennifer coming to you here from Florida in my kayak where we just moved. Recently Joy Behar made some remarks about Mike Pence and Christians who hear Jesus. And I took some time to review the video myself, and I really thought the whole thing was silly and blown out of proportion. But since it kind of became very controversial, I really felt the Spirit provoking me to address it. When you think about it, Joy's response to hearing Jesus is completely logical if you don't know Jesus personally. What do you think when someone tells you that they hear voices? You think exactly what she thinks. I don't know if Mike's claims were to have actually hear Jesus's voice in the literal sense, or if that was just Omarosa's interpretation of Mike describing hearing and following God's direction in his life. But God does use the Holy Spirit, who speaks to us through prayer and through other believers and through the scriptures to guide us and give us direction. And those that are grounded in a physical world and don't have any understanding of the spiritual world around them, they really can't make any sense of that. We shouldn't be angry about that, though. In 1 John chapter 3, we're told that the reason the world does not know us is that they did not know him. So it's no surprise. In fact, it's the purpose of the Great Commission. People not knowing God should not make us angry at them. It should make us sad, and it should motivate us to action. Now, if you have experienced hearing from God yourself, it's because before you had the capacity to believe by your own understanding, you first saw Jesus in someone else. And these experiences of Jesus' love through others drew you to him and prompted you to know him personally. I heard a pastor last Sunday, we're trying different churches, and he said, faith comes through revelation of who he is. And that's so true. But I'm going to actually add to that. Faith comes through revelation of who he is, and who he is should be revealed through the life of his followers. I say that because if we read Jesus' words in John chapter 12, he addresses the world and the non-believers. He said, if anyone hears my words but does not keep them, I do not judge that person, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. So Jesus came with a mission to save the world, to heal the sick. And he also came to teach us how to do the same and to be the same kind of person that he was. We need to follow in his footsteps. If we unleash a reign of hatred and judgment and superiority towards every person who doesn't understand or who doesn't believe, well, honestly, we're playing right into Satan's game, because we cannot effectively demonstrate Jesus while submerged in that kind of sinful heart. If we meet people in our lives, sometimes we'll meet people that we will share things in common with, that will cause us to develop friendships and cause us to share in life with them. I actually met someone this week in Florida who I immediately connected with because she's from Southwest Ohio. She loves exercise. She loves paddle boarding. So I am actually really hopeful that we will become good friends. But I don't even know if she's a believer. You see, our decision to do life with people and to value and respect them should not be predicated on whether or not they believe. If it is, you've missed the point of the New Testament entirely, and you really need a heart check. Similarly, if your primary goal of a friendship with a non-believer is just to, quote-unquote, convert them, again, you've missed the point. If a person is a project to you, you've missed the point. People aren't projects. They're people. If we live our lives authentically, then the non-believers in our lives that know you intimately will know Jesus, because you're living with him and he's living through you. I would guess if Joy intimately knew more people that were truly in love with Jesus, then she would have a different perspective of him altogether. Believers are partially to blame for this. Could I be friends with Joy? Probably. I think she's funny. Set aside all the political and religious all that angry talk that goes on. She's funny. My beef isn't with Joy. We believers, we have to remember that people are not the enemy. Satan wants us to believe that people are the enemy, but we have to keep reminding ourselves that people, that joy, that you, that I, we're just pawns in Satan's game. And if we fall into tactics of hate and of degrading people with social media posts and slandering and stealing people's dignity and self-respect just because they don't align with our beliefs, well, we're as great of a pawn in Satan's game as the non-believer. So that's exactly what he wants us to do. We really should be saddened that people don't know Christ, but we need to examine our response to that and our motives. Are we waging war against a person or against the enemy? Are you motivated by being right or being smarter than or being superior, or are you motivated by love for that person? Love covers a multitude of sins, including joys, including yours, and including mine.